Hello YouTube. This is my first YouTube video, chess related at least. So basically I'm a 1957 player here on this account, apparently, but I'm around 2000 normally. I've got accounts over 2000. And the aim of me making these videos really is to show some of maybe the beginner players, maybe lower rated or you know, to middle sort of 1600, maybe slightly higher, the strategies that, you know, I think of, the way I think about chess. In some of the games I'll play. There's a lot of guys out there who make some very good videos. For instance, King's Crusher, Chess Explained, Chess Network. There's loads out there, and please go and check them out. They are brilliant players, and to watch their blitz stuff especially is outstanding, as well as the long-rated games. So yeah, the idea is, the reason why I'm making these videos is because I just think that I can possibly give more of an insight to those beginning players and middle ground players who aren't sure of those strategies that they see in blitz, going, why does he move his knight there? Or, you know, so maybe I can give maybe a slightly deeper insight into that, which may help, you know, understand further what the other guys are talking about. So like I say, I'm going to give it a go. Also, the aim of this is for me to see myself where I'm going wrong, and please be hypercritical if you want to in YouTube. I don't really care about people who are trolls or whatever. Just go ahead. Yeah, so I just want to, you know, improve myself. I want to try and reach about 2150 in the sort of next 6 months or so if I can. Yeah, it'll just be great to hear some of your feedback. So I thought what I'll do is I'll play some 15-minute games. This one's just come up now. This is against a 1690. So we'll give this a little go. We'll kick off with e4. So we go from here. Okay, so e5 will play Vienna. So this is just the opening here, Vienna. Move in knight c3 after playing e4 on the e5 push, and then now Norman's bishop c4. So it's all kind of standard setup. A lot of people say here in the opening though, well, isn't there a little trick black can do, moving the knight here, maybe taking on e4, so then when my knight takes back, he can push the pawn and, oh no, he's forked both my pieces. But unfortunately we don't follow that line. Well, unfortunately for him, but fortunately for us, we don't follow that line. We try and threaten some checkmates. So if you imagine the knight is taken here, and we've got a queen over on h5. So we move our queen to h5, and all of a sudden we're looking at this square here for checkmate. So this is the first little idea I've got. So anyway, he's played bishop c5. So we're going to play some normal chess here, some gioco piano. So notice now, all of a sudden my queen can't jump there. So if he takes, then I'll show you the other ideas. So he doesn't. So let's develop normally. He's developing normally. This is all good. He's playing some good chess. That's what I like to see. So let's have a little look. So he probably wants to develop his bishop, probably to, yeah, there you go, to g4. Do we mind? Not really. We'll castle, get ourselves safe. He may castle or play knight to c6. That would be quite a normal square for his knight to go to. Let's have a look. Aha. So what is this about? So I think he's trying to tempt me into taking it, maybe, so he can take my queen. I don't think I'm going to fall for that. I suppose if I play knight e2, he can take there and ruin my pawn structure also when I recapture with the g-pawn. So let's have a look at another way. What if I played knight to b5? What does he do then? Knight b5. He's got to move the bishop away. Maybe he moves back. Or shall I just kick this bishop away? Let's have a look. Or, alternatively, shall I just still develop? Yeah, let's develop, let's develop. Let's bring the bishop here. Let's trade this bishop off. So if he takes the bishop, I'll take back with the pawn. Yes, I've got double pawns, but then I've also got this long open f-file. Ah, he hasn't. So he's given me the bishop pair. This is also a big consideration when you're playing a lot of your games, to think about, well, what's going to be best in this situation? You know, are my knights going to be better? Some people prefer knights, some people prefer bishops, but truthfully, I mean, you know, looking at this position, the center, which is what pretty much all our chess strategies should be based around a lot of the time, and it's something I still slip up on daily. Everything should be based around the center. The center at the moment isn't defined, so like, you know, there's no pawns that have really made much contact. So I'm just making a little move here, kick this bishop away for a sec. Because what I want to do later on is I want to get rid of these pawns in the middle. I want to get rid of all of them, so my bishops then can go across all these long diagonals and, you know, all these open files, get my rooks over. So then it's gonna, you know, the position then will help me develop my pieces properly into good squares, you know. So let's have a look. Let's see if we can open some of this up. Yeah. Okay. So he's given me the option now to take, and that's given me one square. That's good. That's given me one open line at least, so I can play my rook over to e1 at some point. Okay, so if I just drop this bishop back here for the minute, what does he play? He can push and hit my queen exactly. He can do that. Am I worried though? Am I worried? Probably not. The other thing I noticed in this position is that he's castled here, and he hasn't got a huge amount of protection around his king, but his pawns are good. So we can try some cheeky little tricks, like playing maybe the queen here. So then all of a sudden, his g-pawn will be pinned to the king. So if my queen is here and the g-pawn's pinned, and then I can play bishop h6, and then I'm threatening checkmate, really. However, he does have a nice little move in knight h5. So when my knight goes there, if his knight goes onto h5 here, then he's going to be attacking the queen. So I've got to move my queen again, and it's not the best, not what I'm looking for. But then I do have another little move. So we're going to try this, and I mean, if he plays ball, you'll see. If not, I'll explain it afterwards. So knight h5, but he's got to be careful. Like I say, always about this center. He's got that pawn on d5. Which can be weak. So at the moment it's protected by the knight and the queen, but it's only attacked once, right? So if he goes there, knight h5, I can bring my queen to g5, and I attack again, or I can bring my bishop to g5. Aha! Right. What is this? What is this? Maybe he doesn't want to go into all these complications. So let's have another look again. Bishop h6. Then knight h5 though? I don't think that matters. We can try and make life a little awkward for him though. Yeah, come on. So we threaten checkmate. It's quite a direct move. I think knight h5 is probably his only real try here. Notice how I say that, right? And you know, people might be thinking, well, why can't he move the pawn? There you go. Why can't he move g6? What's wrong with that? Well, he can, you know, that's the truth. He can do that, but he does weaken himself then around the king. I've got this dark square bishop here, and all these dark squares would then become weak. So let's go here for a minute. Let's see what he does here. Okay, so now he's weakened those squares like we were talking about, which is good for us. So now I think we probably want to have a look at sort of destroying more of his pawn center, maybe even putting pressure here. Because if you look, my development's better, but it's not winning yet. So we will play in this sort of manner here, getting all our pieces out, so still develop. He's really only got one piece developed right now. I mean, I know he's castled, he's got his rook out and things like that. Aha, can we take advantage of this anyhow? I can't see a way just yet. Looking for tactics, bishop takes, queen takes, and he's protected everything. It just doesn't look great. Okay, but is this an issue though? What if I start pushing him around a little? Bishop here, where's his rook going? Okay. Yeah, that's a good move. So, what if I make a little maneuver here? I'm going to play bishop to b5, then I'm going to probably drop back to e2 and put a lot of pressure on this knight. At least that's the idea for the moment. That's what I want to try. I should, maybe I should be playing rook e1 and f3 and things, but I just don't want to weaken stuff, because again, if I'm playing f3, his knight might be able to jump in here later on with ideas queen c7, and I don't know, that's what I'm scared of. It might be totally terrible to be scared of that stuff, but I am. So, we do have another move though. What about this? Bishop here attacks the queen. If he pushes the pawn forward, then the rook drops. So this is a nice little tactical move for the first go. And I've still got the idea of going bishop b5, bishop e2, and bringing my pieces out this way. Well, let's have a look. Okay. Yeah, so he's got the dark squares there with the queen. Now he is playing some pretty good chess here, actually. Threatens a few things. Okay, so my bishop over here doesn't look great, so I'm going to reroute that guy first. Again, I know the strategy I mentioned earlier was to break the center open. Oh, okay. So now he's looking after that rook. So those little tactics on the rook don't quite work. Okay, well, let's pop this guy here for the mo. I might have ideas of playing c4. However, on c4 I might be playing a6 and things like that. Aha. Right. Okay. Can I play queen h4 here and look to infiltrate over here? I can't see a great way through right now. I don't see a huge amount of threats from either, so let's have a look. If I go here, what has he got? I mean, knight f4. Is that really doing anything? I don't think it is. Maybe my pieces are getting a bit discombobulated, as Nigel Short likes to use that term. So we'll drop back here. Those of you who don't know Nigel Short, an English Grandmaster. You came second. You can't really come second in a World Championship, but if you can, it'll be him against Kasparov in the sort of 80s, 90s period. I'm probably going to get owned for that on YouTube for saying, oh, you don't know the exact year and stuff, but hey, who cares? For me right now, I don't really mind. Like I say though, it's good to learn this chess history stuff though, and I think that there's a lot to be said by studying, the old pros and the old masters and stuff, and you should definitely do that. So, in fact, don't listen to anything I'm pretty much saying to you at all. Right, okay, so he's blocked down everything here. It's looking like he's maybe playing a little stronger than his rating. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'm just playing terrible today. I don't know. Might be playing pretty terrible this morning. Let's have a look. Okay, so he's given me the option of getting these double pawns back, but his knight is looking slightly better in this position, I'd say. So, okay, let's go for it. So if he takes, yeah, there you go. So we'll undouble the pawns. He can't really take back on b5 because queen takes, but then he can play like rook c8. That'll be okay. Yes, he has got that move actually. That's a pretty good move. Let's just protect it for the mo. We might have a little pass pawn push here going on. So I mean, we're a pawn up. We've got the bishop. We like this queen side of the board at least. I've got to watch this little backward pawn if I'm not careful on c3. By backward pawn, it means it can't really be pushed forward without being taken. Some people go, yeah, but you can push it now. He takes, you take, and it's like, yeah, okay. But then I've got this pawn, which all of a sudden, oh, excuse. Lots of police and things going past. Yeah, so I mean, if I push this pawn and he takes and I take, then all of a sudden, this pawn here is not defended. And the queen is attacking it, because the pawn in front of him is already taken on c4. Aha. He wants to trade queens here. Is it preferable to do that? I don't think it is. Maybe we can... Let's have a look. Queen d7. With the idea of going, so queen d7, what's the idea? Why would you want to go there? Well, I want to go there because I see that this square here is pretty dangerous. I mean, black looks pretty terrible on that square. He's only got really a knight defending it. So if we can get rid of that guy, and I can bring this guy here, it's checkmate. So that's the idea behind queen d7. It might be a little primitive, but also, I mean, we've got other threats. I mean, queen moves here somewhere, or, you know, moves to there, and we've got the rook, and it's check, and queen steps up to attack the queen somewhere, maybe queen here, and then queen check, and I mean, there's a lot to think about, but these are the sort of ideas I have right now. These are sort of typical, maybe not a typical position, but it's a typical idea to maybe sack, what they call sack the exchange here on h5. So maybe rook takes knight, you know, or in some cases even queen takes knight, pawn takes. Now we might have a little rook up here for checkmate, or a queen up here for checkmate. So there's things to look out for in Grandmaster games, especially. You see that sort of thing is rife in things like the Sicilian defense, which is when white plays e4 and black replies c5. A lot of the time, one of these files over here becomes open, generally the c file, and black a lot of the time just mounts up an attack on the c file with his rooks and queens and everything like that, and sacks around here somewhere where the king is normally placed, just like taking knights, taking pawns for rooks, and it all looks a bit crazy. But at the end of it all, after all those takes and recaptures, the king is checkmated here. So again, a lot of the time, you know, to do tactics and sites like that, I highly recommend Chess Tempo. It's a great site. I'm not very highly rated on there at the moment. I think I'm only about sort of 1850-ish. Right, okay, so he really wants to trade queens off. So how can I trade queens off to a point that's going to be preferable for me? If I take, rook takes, and then... Oh, that's quite nice. Let's try this. So, queen takes, rook takes, pawn push to hit the knight. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the knight protects this square. Well, my bishop, if there's a rook there and a rook there, my bishop can go... so we'll give this a go. So rook takes back, and push the pawn. Knight's got to move somewhere. Or he can take. I mean, if he takes, then pawn takes. And I'm on the knight again, so he's got to do something about this knight. Right, okay, cool. So now here we've skewered or pinned one rook to the other, but I mean, I guess not really a pin because you're going to be winning more material than you're losing, so that's always a good sign. Yeah, so this is something maybe he overlooked. I think he played pretty well in the game, actually. I probably should have opened this centre up earlier for my bishops, and I think I'd have had an easier game. Right, so he's trying to double up on that pawn. I'll take that guy first. So now it's kind of a matter of technique. Again, when you're ahead in material, you want to trade down. Let's have a look. So, best way to go about doing this, maybe playing here. So what does he do with the pawn if he takes? Rook takes. I'm still protecting this pawn. If you look, this rook is kind of tied down at the moment to this. It won't be there for long though. Aha. So now we can win a pawn anyway. So we take on here. He'll take back with the pawn, and then the rook will take here. That's the idea anyway. If he doesn't take, I'll probably still take it. What else does he have? Knight there. If he goes knight there, though, and I take, his knight's got to move again. The other thing to look at as well, a lot of the time, when these sort of sacrificing exchange, and oh my gosh, why does he give a rook up for, like, you know, a bishop and things, is if you can get a few pawns like this rolling towards the king side to promote at least one of them, you're going to get a queen. Well, a queen is worth more than a rook, right? So that's exactly why you'd want to do this. So again, this is kind of a matter of technique. A lot of people like to bring a king in here to stop the pawn from coming down. It adds another piece to the attack. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually win this first. I'm going to pick it up this way. Oh, he wants to trade off. Again, if you're ahead in material, trading down is good. And then I'll do everyone's favourite move. So right now, I think he's probably looking at where he can bring his knight. Maybe there to defend that and attack something else, and you know, so that these are the sort of things we've got to watch for our opponent doing. But equally, you know, think about it yourself in your own games. You know, if you're in this kind of position, right, he wants to go there, maybe he wants to go here now. I mean, that seems the only logical square for the knight. So if we keep the knight out first, well, does that keep the knight out? Because you can jump in here. So not initially. Okay, maybe we can just push this pawn. I mean, can he stop? Can you really stop it? Probably, but then at least I'm putting pressure here though, you know? So I always look for that. It's like, can I add pressure, and if so, where? Oh, he's looking for a little fork here. So, that's a fork also. I overlooked that, didn't I? Okay, so rook here now. To look after that. So yeah, he was threatening to make a fork on this square here. So forking the rook that was there and the king that's there. And if I'd have stepped up, then he'd have gone knight takes with check and still picking up the rook. So looking out for those sort of things. Okay, so should we start pushing these pawns up? Because again, you know, if I can get one of these pawns to the other side, it's going to be worth more than a knight. And aha. Let's just double check. I don't see any tricks. Not immediately. Look as well, the king can't step past this line either. In fact, all those squares are covered. He's going to go there to there to there if he wants to come this way. But in that time, I should hopefully be able to push one of these guys at least up, you know, to get a queen. So, yeah, do I want to hang on to that though? Can I just give it up? Well, the other thing as well, he's moving his knight a fair bit away from the action here. So if I go here first, as he was attacking that pawn there, he's going to have to move the knight. Where to? Where's good? Yeah, well, if he goes back, can I just play this? Has he got a little check anywhere? No. So we picked the pawn up. Now we're a 5-2 majority pawn-wise. We've got the rook, he's only got a knight, and there's no real way to protect the knight exactly, so he's going to have to move that. Okay, so he's attacking that with check. I can get a check though also. Check, king moves, start pushing the other pawns. Or shall I just protect this for the mo? Again, this is all quite slow. You don't have to do this. If this is a blitz game, I probably wouldn't be doing much of this. I'd just be pushing my pawns like crazy and trying to win stuff. Can I bring the king in even more now, though? Because, again, look what his king's not going anywhere. He can't really go many places here. If he's going that way, I mean, there's no square he can get in, so it doesn't really make much sense to do that. Right, so now I'm going to sort of define this pawn structure over here. He has to take, otherwise I'm getting a passed pawn this side as well, and he doesn't want that. Although I could probably do that anyway, actually. Let's give that a go. So let's have a look. Pawn takes pawn, rook takes. And then I'm threatened to go rook here and then take the knight off, and then all of a sudden I got 5 queens coming. So that's always good too. But yeah, let's have a look at this guy. What's his highest rating? See, a lot of people look at this site and go, "Oh, I'm losing to a 1600, I'm losing to a 1300 or whatever." But the good thing about ChessCube is it tells you their highest general rating. So in this game, I can probably okay. So let's have a look. Rook takes. So the reason why I'm moving that is I haven't got a huge amount of time. So his highest general rating is 1830. So at one point in his chess playing career on this site, he's been as strong as 1830. So a lot of the time, people go, "Oh, I was playing so well against this, 2000, and I lost to 1400." But if you look at their highest ratings, they've actually been a lot higher. So a lot of the time, it's not, you're not actually playing a 1600. You're playing more like a 1800. So let's have a look. This guy can drop off now, shortly, right? He has got a check, but I don't think it really gets him anything. Knight check here. I can just step up, I think. Yeah. All over this way. Knight check, steps there. I just got to be careful of tactics here. So if I go there, has he got another check? I don't see one. No, I think his knight looks pretty terrible now. So he hasn't really got any square he can move to without me taking him. So that's good. It gets his piece out the game for one move at least. Maybe we'll come this way. Yeah. And there's a cheeky little idea here. People go, "Why over here?" Well, first off, I get out of the way of these pawns. And second off, if he comes into any line with his king, I can just go check, or check, and then pick up the knight. So let's see. Where's he going here? So I may not be able to commentate the rest of this 1 minute 30 odd seconds if I'm moving quite quickly. Yeah, he's kind of totally forgetting what he needs to do here. There's not many ideas here if you just got a king and a knight. So always look for tricks, though. Always be looking for tricks. If you're in this kind of position yourself, have a look and see if is there a way to fork. And that's another reason why the rook went here. If it had gone to where the pawn is now, there could be a fork on for his knight at some point. So always look for tricks. If you're down in material. Yeah, and he's given up here. So let's have a little look again at that game. E4, E5, so standard Vienna stuff, really. Like I said, the Vienna's just an opening. Don't be afraid of the names and things like that. It's just purely sort of another way to say where your pieces are going. So somebody says, "Oh, I play the Vienna." It's like, not that they know exactly how to win every single game. They just know what the opening is. They know, oh, well, a knight there, a bishop there, and a pawn there is the Vienna game, or at least it starts off that way. And usually from there you find a lot of the guys, especially lower rated, will say, "Oh yeah, I play the Vienna." And then when you play sort of past book move 3, they don't know what they're doing. So they may play like the first 3 or 4 moves of Vienna. Same with me though. I'm exactly the same. I don't pretend to know I know every single move, but a lot of my book lines are quite long. I know the Vienna fairly lengthily, if that is even a word. So castles. Yeah, I think that's just a trick. So the idea here with this bishop move, if he takes and I take back, I've got this lovely open F file. His king's looking to maybe castle there soon. I don't know, but also trading that off will take a lot of pressure off these dark squares. And everyone says, again, this is another thing I'll counter in some other videos, is the sort of square complex sort of idea. And really, I'll do like a little brief insight. My pawns, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on white squares. So my light square bishop will have a hard time getting through these. It won't physically be able to. But the dark square bishop can move around them all. So 5 out of 8, being on the same color as this bishop. Some people say, well, it's a bad bishop. It gets quite complex. We'll go into that stuff the more videos I make, if you guys like this enough. But yeah, so for now that we'll just do that. So a small analysis. He takes. I'm happy to get these double pawns again, like I say, because of the bishop pair. Now he's given me both bishops, he's only got knights. So again, the idea now really is to break up this centre. I go to it straight away, but I kind of lose my way a little bit. Probably because I'm concentrating on talking about stuff. Maybe I'm just making excuses now, I don't know. So bishop b3. So yeah, now he's kind of wanting to block the centre up. This is good for him, so it gives him, like, his knight can jump around these things. My bishop's going to have a hard time, making a few moves to get around it here and there. Yeah, like I said, this is a little bit primitive, but the amount of times people have been checkmated by this, including myself, I think this move isn't great because now he's weakened. Like I said, he's weakening these squares again. If you look, all his pawns, apart from one, are on light squares. So my dark square bishop really should become a monster, jumping around all these dark squares around his king. Didn't really happen, though. Yeah, I'm kind of fluffing around a bit here. Probably the better idea here is just go c4, swap these pawns off in the middle, and then all of a sudden, my bishops come alive again. And I think that's probably where I went wrong, actually, in this game. But please feel free on YouTube to tell me different, tell me what I should have done. I appreciate all the feedback, especially again from stronger players. It's always welcome. Like I say, feel free if you really fancy trolling or whatevs. Honestly, stuff like that doesn't bother me. But obviously, it's best if you try not to do that, discouraging people from wanting to make videos and things. So yeah, so that was pretty much the intro to all this. Let me know if you like it. If you do, I'll make some more. And if not, then I won't. All right, well, take it easy, guys. See you soon.